Test, test. the Everman City Council regular meeting to order. It is Tuesday, June 11th, 2024, and the time is 6 o'clock. First item on the agenda is the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. I've asked the chaplain to please come up and lead us in the invocation. Everybody please rise.
Good evening, everyone. Join me in a word of prayer, please. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening to praise your name, to thank you for the many blessings that you have given us, and to thank you for this council who has come together here in service to this city. We thank you for them. We ask your blessings on them. We ask your blessings also, Father, on all those who serve this city, particularly our law enforcement professionals. We thank you for them. We ask you to keep them safe as they go about their duties, some of which are very hazardous. And tonight, Lord, we bring to you particularly our new officer, Officer Quackenbush. We ask your protections on him as he goes through his continuing training, his field training, and then out onto the street with our department. We're so glad to have him with us, Father. And we also thank you for this city, for the citizens of this city, for all those who are trying to make a difference here in this time when we find it very difficult with what's going on in our world, in our city, in our state, in our country. So, Lord, we ask your blessings on all. We ask this in your holy name. Amen. And I have one more thing to bring to y'all. Over on the table on the side is a box of freshly made, homemade brownies my wife brought for you guys. She said, y'all need a little sugar. She said, I've told her about some of the previous meetings, and she says, we need a little more energy in here, so please grab yourself a brownie. Thank you very much.
Okay, now the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is presentations. Item A is swearing-in ceremony, Everman Police Department.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. As always, I certainly appreciate, I certainly appreciate the opportunity to be able to do this before you. We have Ryan Quackenbush here with us this evening, officer, and we call him Q. Q just graduated the other day from the Weatherford College Law Enforcement Academy. He comes to us with a background in the military and private security. He actually worked for the school district, or for a contractor with the school district, as a security officer in our schools. We were able to steal him and bring him on board. He was the first cadet that we've hired and put through the academy, and this program so far has been a success. Q graduated the academy as a salutatorian and a class captain, so he certainly proved himself at the academy, and we're very fortunate to have him here with us. He has just completed his second day of orientation, which is the worst part of FTO. You sit there and take a whole bunch of online classes for 2 days on city policy and department policy. So now he's ready to go in a couple days and start his field training out in the field and begin that work. So we're very fortunate to have him here with us. Q, if you just raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of City of Everman, police officer of the state of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God. Thank you, Mayor. We appreciate that.
Welcome on board. Okay, next item is citizens' comments. I know we have one.
At this time, Any person who desires to speak on any item posted on the agenda or any person with business before the City Council not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the City Council provided that a speaker's request form has been completed and provided to the City Secretary prior to the start of the meeting. Speakers are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes, unless otherwise granted by the mayor. The City Council cannot respond to matters not listed on the agenda until scheduled at a future meeting. Please direct all comments to the Council. Proper respect, decorum, and conduct shall prevail at all times. Impertinent, slanderous, or personal attacks are strictly prohibited. Unauthorized remarks from the audience, stomping of feet, applauding, whistles, yells, or any type of disruptive behavior are prohibited, and violators may be removed. Mayor, we have Daniel J. Bennett.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Daniel Bennett. I live in White Settlement, Texas. On occasions, I'll come down here and speak to you about the Tarrant Appraisal District. I do want to say one thing prior to one of my comments. This still concerns the district. I understand that the financial comprehensive audit's been done. It's been sent to your body. I encourage each and every one of you to read it. And if things you have any questions, call Mr. Gary Lasada. He's a director. L-O-S-A-D-A, I believe he received some of your votes, and he will be happy to speak to each and every one of you individually. As a group, all you gotta do is call him. That brings me, segues into what we're actually doing. There are 2 subcommittees now, finally, at the appraisal district. It's been at the direction of the chair, Mr. Vince Puente. One is for IT, which we know we've been hacked on numerous occasions. We've been calling for an IT subcommittee for 4 years. Finally got one, so let's all celebrate. Okay, brownie time, for sure. Second subcommittee is subcommittee choosing the ARB members. Now, why is this important? At-large candidates were just chosen to the board, and we voted countywide. 2 of the at-large directors put in there by the vote of the public have to agree on the ARB members. The ARB is Appraisal Review Board. Those are the ones that will hear your citizens protest when they file and they don't like the valuation that they receive from the district. It's supposed to be an autonomous, totally separate entity under Mr. Law. It never has been. The culture there is about to change, and I need each and every one of you to help me change this culture. What I would ask this body to do, ask your citizenry. We need applications for people who wish to sit on the ARB and hear protests from your citizens in Everman, Crowley, Rendon, from this area of the county. Now, it gets paid $185 a day. You could hear 20 or 30 hearings a day. It's tasking. It's not not effort. You have to take 2 classes. The online application is online, but here's the deal. As of July 1st, the administrative judge used to choose these people. Now it will be that subcommittee that will look over the applications and make recommendations to the entire board. And that subcommittee is headed by Mr. Lasada. He has plenary power. He chose the other members of that subcommittee, and he chose people that are not ingrained into the system, that will actually, hopefully, the criteria will be they have allegiance to the property tax code and they have a servant's heart. That's what we need. When you go to fight your protest, it's a very onerous system. You need advocates there to advocate for your citizens. You don't need to be attacked by the district and attacked by the ARB. That is the buffer for your citizenry. This is important. It's a culture change, and I hope you'll solicit some people, apply, and give their application to Mr. Gary Lasada. I want to thank you for your time. You've always been a great steward of change at the appraisal district, and I commend Mayor Richardson and all of you for the last 7 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, we also have Alberto Gonzalez.
I'm not speaking too much English, but anybody speak Spanish?
If you would you can speak in Spanish.
Okay,
Sí, puede hablar español, yo lo intento.
okay, gracias. Okay, mi asunto es acerca del creek, del río atrás de mi yarda.
Okay, he says that he wants to talk about, he lives by the creek. He wants to talk about the creek in the backyard of his house. ¿Cuál es su dirección?
401 Christie Avenue.
401 Christie Avenue.
Okay. Cada vez que llueve, nosotros no podemos dormir, porque siempre nos pasa lo mismo. Y ya estuve mirando yo que aquí por la Rice hay un desagüe anterior del desagüe de la calle, y ese está tapado de tierra. Todo el agua pasa a la calle de nosotros, y es casi igual el agua que corre por la calle a la que corre por el río.
Okay, he says that he's noticed that on Ray Street, because every time that it rains, he's not able to sleep, because it happens all the time, right, where it's a lot of rain. So he says on Ray Street, he's noticed where there is like a drain, and it's all covered up with debris and dirt and everything, and so it makes the water run down that way, and it's always running that way because there's no drain going down that route.
O sea que tengo mi niño desde el 2018 que hubo la inundación, siempre que llueve, él quiere que lo lleve a otro lugar, a otra casa.
Okay. He said that in 2018 when they got flooded, his son ever since then, every time it rains, he wants his father to take him out of the house and take him to another house because of
Lo estamos llevando a terapia a causa de que tiene un trauma allá.
he has a trauma since that time, and so he's been taken to therapy from that point on because he doesn't want to be at his house when it rains.
Y nomás queremos saber si se va a hacer algo o no para nosotros tomar una decisión.
He wants to know if there's something that's going to be able to be done about the situation, so that way he can make a decision of what to do for them.
Porque lo que pasó el otro día, de la inundación del otro día también, fueron casi $15,000 que perdí por mis vehículos.
Okay, he said because, the flood that they had just the other day, it was about $15,000 that he lost due to his vehicles.
Y pues tiene uno un trauma ya con la lluvia, o sea, en vez de darte gusto, te da tristeza, porque pues no hay uno ni para dónde correr.
Yeah, he says that instead of, when it rains, instead of being happy, they become sad because there's nowhere for them to go. So that's what he wanted to say.
En el puente que está aquí por la Rice, está un árbol atorado en el puente.
He says that on the bridge that runs through Race, there's a tree that is actually covering the bridge, that is obstructing the bridgeway.
Y siempre que llueve, yo agarro mi pala y voy limpiando las cunetas con lo que yo puedo.
And he says that every time that it rains, he gets a shovel and he's always trying to clean the debris and the stuff that he can when it rains out of the way, every time it rains.
Y nomás es lo que queremos saber nosotros, pues saber qué futuro nos espera.
Yeah, so all he wants to know is like what future holds for them with that situation. That's all he wanted to talk about.
Is his phone number on the?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you want to explain them. Obviously, we can't discuss it
Right.
tonight, but I will make sure that we have a Spanish-speaking staff member reach out to him tomorrow, and we can have him come up to City Hall, meet with him, make sure he's got all the available resources associated with this, and we'll also investigate his complaints too.
Okay. Le queríamos dejar saber que ahorita que usted se apuntó, ¿verdad? Lo podemos escuchar, pero no le podemos contestar a todas sus preguntas. Pero el manager dice que puede ir a la oficina mañana y ahí van a tener a alguien que hable español, que lo pueda atender y darle todos los recursos disponibles que nosotros tenemos, ¿verdad? Y hablar con usted, explicarle lo que se puede hacer o lo que se va a hacer en el futuro. Ahorita no se le puede dar mucha información porque no se le puede dirigir la palabra en esta conversación.
Sí.
Su número es 817-210-7449.
Sí.
49.
Aquí en el City Hall.
Sí, va a ser ahí en City Hall. Usted se presenta mañana, van a tener a alguien que hable español allí. Usted va a hablar con ellos de lo que usted nos habló ahorita, le van a dar los recursos. He would like to know what time. Anytime.
We'll have staff probably call him and set up an appointment
Okay.
so I can make sure that I've got a Spanish speaker and myself.
Got it. Dice que le van a llamar. Usted no vaya, le van a llamar por teléfono y así ellos van a tener a alguien que hable español para poderlo atender.
Ok.
¿Ok?
Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Okay, is that it, Mindy, on public comments? Okay, next item is discussion items, item A, 2024 Celebrate America Festival.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. So this one's on here just as a discussion and to kind of brief you on our Celebrate America Festival that's coming up. It is scheduled for June 29th, so we're just a couple of short weeks away. We are doing something different this year as a test, and hopefully we plan on this to grow. But we are going to open up the Civic Center that morning and have an all-day market inside of the Civic Center. And we will kick off the outdoor festivities with a concert and all the outdoor vendors and games at 6 o'clock that evening. We do have the same band that was here last year coming back by popular request, All Funk Radio Show, so they will be here. We were able to recruit them. This is the city's 79th year being incorporated, meaning next year will be our 80th year. We had planned originally to do a big festival for the 75th year, but that was COVID. We had to cancel that year. So as we're coming into budget, just a heads up, something to think about if we would like to make the 80th year our big celebration and try to do a real big event. This next year would be the year to do that. So we'll be looking forward to any feedback that you have, as always, from the festival coming up, and open to new ideas and what you would like to see next year. We will be doing or we are planning, with your approval, I should say, a fireworks display again this year. So we will have a resolution at the next meeting for you to approve the fireworks again for this year as well.
Any questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, item B, 2024 Christmas events.
Okay, I know it's hard to believe that we're already discussing Christmas, but our Christmas committee has already begun meeting, and we've gone ahead and scheduled some of the events for Christmas. We are going to host, or we're planning to host, the holiday market this year on November 30th. That is the Saturday immediately following Thanksgiving. The reason for the change, if you recall, last year we had the market a little later in the year. Some people's complaints were a lot of their holiday shopping was already done, so it didn't really attract a whole lot of people to come out and do shopping. So we're going to try to target that Good Friday weekend. I'm sorry, not Good Friday, Black Friday weekend. Sorry, it's been a long day. The Black Friday weekend to hopefully attract some more people to come out and serve our vendors. The Christmas tree lighting itself will be on December 5th, Thursday. We are already working with a school district for that. And then we also have the same sponsors. We can't do this as a city event, but we do have the same sponsors that are planning to do the Rosary to the Virgin again event this year. We've targeted December 12th, Thursday, December 12th for that. And then we've also planned our Christmas movie night for December 23rd. We did it that week because of the vacation with school, everybody's out, figured that would be the most opportune time. So our committee is already meeting. We're doing a lot of planning and putting together for all these events that are coming up around Christmas time. So if you have any special requests or any ideas you would like to share with us, please get those to staff as we're meeting. We hope to have all of this lined out by September and finalized around that time.
Any questions or comments? Okay, next item, item C, review and discuss 2025 budget calendar.
I believe Susan sent the budget calendar out to everybody, and I'm pulling it up here real quick. So just to review, we've got several dates in here, and please remember, these are all budget workshops. Well, most of these are budget workshops, so I know that we typically start these at 5. We understand if you can't be here right at 5. Remember, budget workshops, there is no action expected to be taken by council. Council can't take any action at the workshop. It's just general discussion review. We don't have to just discuss budget during meetings. If you have any specific issue or concern or something you want to bring up, we're always available. Throughout the entire budget process, we're available to you if you want to come meet one-on-one, whatever it may be. So we do have the calendar put out. June 20th will be, which is coming up pretty quick, here in a little over a week, is our town hall meet and greet. We started this a couple years ago. It seems to be a hit. The community's really appreciated it. It's a great opportunity for people to come up and voice their public input directly to the directors of the departments and get that feedback. They can visit about issues, and it gives all of our directors an opportunity to hear from the public on what the budget priorities should be. So that seemed to be a pretty good event, so we're going to continue to do that. That'll be at 6 p.m.
How will you notify the residents of the
It's already been placed online. We've got that. We've got flyers. We've got it posted inside of City Hall, and we will do CTY starting this week too, letting them know.
Now put something in the water bill? Was too late now for the water bill?
Yeah, and the last water bill contained the notice for the time change. July the 9th at 5 p.m. will be our first budget workshop. That will be for payroll and benefits, water sewer fund, and special revenue expenditures. That will be here at the Civic Center. Immediately following that at 6 p.m. will be our regular city council meeting. On July the 12th at 1 p.m., this is the Friday meeting. This is typically the long meeting where we discuss departmental expenditures. Typically, we've hosted that here at the Civic Center. There was a wedding booked here that evening at 4 p.m. We didn't want to conflict with the booking there, so we are actually going to have this at, if you approve it tonight, at what will be the DAGS building, the old library. There's a same size conference table as we have over here. It's actually a much bigger room, so there'll be a little bit more space. We'll plan to host that workshop there at that building. On August 6th at 5 p.m., we'll have another budget workshop, proposed tax rates and revenues. Yes. Well, you have it on here as a workshop. 5 p.m. budget workshop? Okay. August 13th at 6 p.m. will be our regular council meeting, and at that point, we should have the proposed budget books ready for you for distribution for review. August 20th will be the public hearing on the tax rates and proposed budget with the adoption and ordinance, and then August 27th will be our regular city council meeting. That regular council meeting is just kind of a placeholder. If for whatever reason the budget process gets delayed, that's our last ditch effort. That's the cutoff. That's when we have to have a budget adopted by. That'll be our last meeting. So, any questions or concerns about the budget calendar? Okay, was everybody good with Jason's Deli for the luncheons last year? So we'll do a similar menu? Okay, perfect.
I've already told you, I'm probably not going to be at that meeting, so it'll be yours, Susan.
All right, that's all I've got with that, Mayor.
All right, next item, presentation and report on the status of Municipal Animal Services Shelter, Ray Wrenchler.
Boy, that sounded like a sports announcer.
I don't know how to say it. I know I'm going to mispronounce it.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, that was
Wrenchler?
perfect. That was perfect, Wrenchler.
Okay.
Okay. Somebody got to click for me.
Yep, I got you.
Awesome.
Are you already ready?
I'm ready. All right. I'm really excited, Mr. Mayor, council members. I'd let you know about how we're doing at the animal shelter. We're really proud of the accomplishments that we've made so far. And this was a presentation we also gave at the advisory board meeting, kind of letting everybody know where we are and where we would really like to see us go. And then, and where we were too, a little bit of that. So when I first started here, I was brought in January 8th. When I first came in, we had some struggles. There was an injured employee. The staff was relatively new and inexperienced. There was a lack of training, and there was a huge policy at the shelter for overcapacity, which means having a lot more animals in a building than a building's made to put in. And there were some insufficient safety policies in place, which of course some injuries happened. So those were some of the struggles coming into when I came in January. And then where we are now, we've worked really hard. We've cleaned the house. We spent a lot of time getting the place really cleaned up and getting the capacity where it was supposed to be. We're really happy. People have come into the shelter now, and they walk in, they go, "I don't even smell dogs. This is nice." So it's we've got the place so it smells good. The dogs look comfortable, and it's more inviting now. We've spent a lot of time training. Every single person at the shelter is fear-free trained, which means that we're looking for animals. We don't want animals to have fear, anxiety, and stress is what they're looking for, and frustration. So we're trying to decrease those things to make our pets a lot more adoptable. Dakota, our officer, he's received his basic animal control certificate, and we've put in place a cleaning SOP and a pathway planning SOP, which helps us so when animals come in, we know exactly how we want to move them through as quickly as possible through the shelter. We got all of our administration caught up. There was some data missing, and we kind of got all the data put into place and updated as much as possible. And we put in place a standardized reporting system in place as well. Communication, we make communication with management above us really important and a priority. And of course, we have new pretty trucks. I love our trucks. When I came in, I was really excited about our trucks. We also have the logos have been changed on the trucks, which I'm going to talk about the logos and the name change. Everman and Forest Hill Animal Services, that's where I'm going to talk about it. Which we're calling it Municipal Animal Services instead of City of Everman, because we'd go into Forest Hill and people like, what are you doing in my city? You're Everman. And we wanted to make sure that since we're doing both cities, that we're encompassing both cities and that, that we're working together as a team. So we came up with Municipal Animal Services, and it really unified our cities. So both cities, we feel like we're working together now, and we're one. And on that same thinking process, we also built a new web page, which is municipalanimalservices.net. On that web page, you'll be able to go in and you can see immediately what animals we have at the shelter, which we're hoping to get more animals found, to get them back home, and more animals that people can look for when they want to do an adoption. And really, with animal control is really about a quality of life for our citizens in our communities. Our job, we really felt we want to keep people safe from animals. You should be able to walk down the street without having to worry about a dog running up on you. And we also want to keep animals safe from people. Most people are loving, caring, kind people to animals, but there's some that are not. And that's part of our job, is to keep animals safe. And also part of our quality of life, for our residents, is we want to be known as saving as many animals' lives as possible. We don't want to be that, it's that dog place. We want to be that. We want to be the animal shelter that people know that the animals are cared for, and we're doing everything in our ability to find every healthy adoptable pet a home. So where we want to go, of course, we're all excited about the new shelter. We've been working on that, working on the grant, which the grant is like reading a novel. It is the biggest pile of papers I've ever seen, and I know we're all working on that. We also wanted to get a mission statement that supports both communities, and that was presented. I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit. And then also talk about city ordinances that brings both of our cities kind of closer together, so we have kind of the same ordinances, at least mostly, and maybe more intertwined with our neighboring communities and get us up to speed with our animal ordinances. So we're talking about doing that in the future. The suggested mission statement that we had that we're going to be working on, the suggested that I have is working together as a community will improve the lives of people and animals. You want your mission statement to be something we can think and we can say it right away. If it's 2 paragraphs, most people won't even read it, let alone know what it is. So we wanted to have a really concise mission statement that'll let our residents know what we're trying to do. We based on this, working together as a community, our animal problem is not something that one department can do, one person can do, or even just a team can do. It has to be a community effort. Understanding we got to spay and neuter our pets. We have to keep our pets inside. We have to keep our pets vaccinated so we can keep everybody healthy and safe. And everybody kind of has to work on that together. And it really is a combination of community leaders, volunteers, rescues, and our staff working together to make this a great place for people and animals. Municipal Animal Services, of course, we work with the community to solve individual problems. We always always start with education. 90% of what we do is just about educating, what everybody's dealing with, what are the laws, what are the best practices. We also want to provide residents services in the community as a whole. We want to give them the services they need to take care of their animal problems. We also want to provide services to keep both the human and the animal and the people community safe. We want everybody to be safe in our communities. And again, we want to try to find every healthy adoptable pet at home. And that was our mission. Part of our vision that we want to do is we want to do these things through best practices. We want to and labor to improve the lives of animals and people. Best practices means following SOPs, having policies and procedures that are in place, and develop those with people safety and animal safety in mind. Generally, best practices are determined by state law, our city ordinances, and then in the animal sheltering world, fear-free shelter guidelines, which we talked about, and AVMA guidelines for shelters is another policy that we like to follow. In fact, that policy is even quoted in the Texas Administrative Code. So it's generally the one you want to follow. And also we want to, and part of our vision is through technology, we'll improve the lives of people and animals. Data matters. We want to know without data, we don't know where we were or where we're going or where we're at. So we want to be able to do that. We want to use our technology to market better, like we're doing with the web page, the Facebook. We started at the end of the night, doing a quick walking through the shelter and showing everybody what dogs we have left, so that maybe the next day they'll come and get one. We're trying that out to see how it works. But we'll try any social media, what we can do to get these animals home. And we just want, using technology, we can be more efficient. And the more efficient we are, the more time we free up. The more time we free up, the more we can do things for our community. And of course, we want highly trained employees. Our current training, like I said, our team now has 3 basic ACOs, certified ACOs. 2 of us are certified for humane euthanasia. And our goal, of course, we've already met all of our staff to be fear-free trained. And the state requires each of us to have 30 CE hours every 3 years. I'd like to at least double that when we do our training for our staff. So we're going to really put a lot of time into training.
I'm sorry to cut you off. What is fear-free training? Fear-free shelter training.
Fear-free shelter training. That is, it's a national training, but it's done through some veterinarians. But what they do is you want to recognize fearful behavior in an animal. When they have anxiety, you're looking for the body behaviors when they're exhibiting these things, and the stress and the frustration. Those things, when animals have those, as a staff member, we know that we need to handle that animal a little differently, go slower, and that's going to prevent injuries to the person. But also when we recognize it, then we can ask ourselves, okay, what can we do to minimize its fear? Like some dogs that get really scared, especially the small ones, and I've even seen large ones try to do it. They'll go under the bed and try to hide. So maybe we put a blanket up on the gate so it would feel like it has more security and calm down quicker. So the fear-free training is to help the animals feel more comfortable while they're at the shelter, because a lot of them don't know why they're in jail. They didn't do anything wrong, Unlike people, they know what they did, but the animals, they don't know what they did. And, so they're scared. And a lot of times it's just if we can get them more comfortable, we can find out what their true personality is. Because when we bring them in, they may be trying to eat us when we're bringing them in because they don't know what's going on. And if we can use those techniques and get them calmer, we might find out, well, he was just scared, and it turned out it's a really good dog, and then we can change its pathway. We also want to have a volunteer program that utilizes the talents and compassion of each person. Really want to work on that volunteer program. In fact, kind of started really a lot of today. Right now we have 3 volunteers that do a lot of the work up there. Heather works for social media, does pictures and rescue networking. The rescues have saved a lot of animals' lives that we work with. Ms. Anna Horton, she's a resident here, and she's been helping a lot with the networking. She takes the cats up to SPCA to get them spayed and neutered. She does a lot to increase the odds to get those animals out, and saves a lot of the animals. And then Ms. Christy Miller, she's also a resident. She helps with the animals. She comes on the weekends and walks the dogs, and she gets incredible pictures of the dogs. There's some things, people have really gifts for, and other people have no gifts. I have no gift on pictures. She has the gift. She can really make some. She makes some really nice pictures, and it helps us market the animals better. And then also, we want to have a rescue program that's based on mutual respect and vision. Sometimes there's disagreements between rescue groups and animal control agencies, and really we want to make that better. We want to have a good relationship, and it's based on mutual respect and vision to save every healthy adoptable animal that we can. Part of our values that we want to do, the values that most animal welfare organizations use is the 5 domains. And the first one, of course, is nutrition, making sure our pets here have enough food, water, shelter. It's got to be fresh, clean water, a balanced variety of food, which we're doing very well at the shelter. The environment, we want it to be comfortable, temperate, routinely, and clean. If we can give them some variety, some toys to play with or something, we try to do what we can to make their environment more pleasant for them while they're there. And of course, we watch their physical health, make sure everything's functioning right and they can sleep well. We do have Quran to bed so they can get up off the floor and they can sleep up off the floor. In the wintertime, we'll provide blankets. And there's sometimes special needs like older dogs, or we'll give them a blanket all the time of the year. And like if we have a dog in there now who has 6 puppies, we provide them with a pool so the puppies can stay in the pool ideally, and then mama can get away for at least a couple seconds. So we're trying to, we want to provide those things. Of course, opportunity, choice environment, choice interaction, to be able to do the things that dogs are supposed to do. Unfortunately, we don't have, as we build our volunteer program, I'm hoping to get the animals out more and to be able to do more of those kind of things, which is an area we do need to work on. And their mental state, make sure they're satisfied, engaged, comfortable, affectionate, playful, confident, calm, encouraged. We want all those things in the dogs. That makes a good, healthy, adoptable dog. And as people find out that we have these kind of dogs here, word will get around, and we'll hopefully get more and more people want to come to our shelter and adopt our pets. All right, so that's pretty much our suggested mission, vision, and values that we put forth. And I know we're going to be discussing it here in the future. And I'm trying to get all these things kind of written down in stone. And then yes, sir.
Never mind. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yes,
I'll
sir.
wait your bit. I thought you were done.
You're hoping or thought? Field highlights. Some of the field highlights that we've done here since I've been here. We have a problem dog in a retirement community. Kind of some of the things that animal control does. This happened in Forest Hill. We had a dog that was coming into a retirement community, and it was causing havoc, because everybody was really scared of it. And it ended up, the other officer, he managed to finally figure out where it lived. We got it back home, and we've taken care of that. And of course, the owner let it out again and then we issued citations, and that seemed to fix it. We had 3 aggressive dogs that were abandoned in Forest Hill. The owner did come back and get one, but one we had to sedate and remove. We had the loose dog at Everman High School. This dog was something else. It wanted to be at the school, but it wouldn't go near us. It knew who I was. It wasn't going to go anywhere near us. So we had to go out on the weekend, and with the help of PD, we were able to sedate the dog and then bring it in. And this was the first dog I've ever sedated. Imagine somebody hitting you with a dart in the booty, and then you wake up in jail, but still loves you. It was the sweetest dog. She turned out to just be so sweet. We definitely got her to rescue. She was a really cool little dog. And then we had 5 problem dogs that were loose in Forest Hill for like 2 years, is what they told me. We ended up we trapped 3 of them. One had 8 puppies when we got her. We still have 2 still there, but they're wily. Problems that we're working on. So we do some of the things we do just outside of the shelter as well. also put into place, I told you about our pathway planning. Pathway planning means that we have to, if we don't want to be over capacity for animals and we don't want to have we don't want our euthanasia rate to go up, we have to have a plan on how many days an animal can stay in the shelter. Originally, the plan was 9 days, and that's because the length of stay, the length of stay on average was 90. We were bringing in one dog a day, and so it was 0.99. So you can't bring in 0.99 dogs. So one dog a day is what we were averaging in the previous data set from the year before. And during that time, the average length of stay, they were keeping dogs here for 27.5 days. So imagine we had 9 kennels, and on an average keeping 27.5 days animals were staying at the shelter. And you're bringing in one a day. You can see how the capacity and everything clogged up, and that's when accidents happen and animals and people can get hurt. So we wanted to get it down to 9 days. And you figure that out you figure out your intake times your animals housed at the facility, and that gives you the number that you're looking at. And so that's how we came up with that number. So our goal was 9 days versus 27.23 days. Can you just switch to the next one, sir? Thank you. So today our goal is 5.6 days. You can figure things went crazy. We are averaging 1.6 dogs a day, so 1.5 dogs a day. But it's gone up. The number of animals coming in has really went up, and that's just from January 1st to April 30th is where we came up with that and coming up with that same formula. So again, that changed it to that changed our number to where we had to get it down. We had to make our length of stay even shorter. So the statistics, here's what they really come down to. In the field, our call volume, before I got here, I'm not quite for sure how we tracked the calls. So I had to basically on calls kind of start from scratch. And these are the calls that Municipal Animal Services did once we started using the system with the radio and the CAD. And as you can see, we pretty much do, we averaged about 50 calls. We averaged 50 calls a month in Everman, and we average about 100 calls a month in Forest Hill. And then our intake, as you can see, let's see the oranges this year. So in January, we took in less dogs. We took in 34 dogs in January. We took in 47 in February, 58 in March, 48 in April, and 51 in May. And every single one of those months is way higher than the previous year. So our intake has really gone up this year. Our length of stay, we've done a really good job. And again, this has a lot to do with the rescues. The rescues have really done an outstanding job of getting a lot of these animals moved. But we were averaging, our average length of stay in January was 15 days. And then we got it down to 4, 5, 7, and then last month was 9 days. So we did have a kind of a rough month last month. Our intake of cats really went up in April and May. They were higher than any other month ever. So not quite for sure how that worked either, but we took in a lot of cats. And then our length of stay on cats, though, again, we dropped it down. January of 2023, the average length of stay for a cat was 36 days at the shelter, which we got it down to 5. So we've really got that length of stay down. Now, it's kind of counterintuitive, but you would think, oh my gosh, if you're getting rid of that many animals that fast, you must be, as I was told on the phone today, a high kill shelter. That is not what happens. I know this is kind of counterintuitive, but if you keep a flow going, it actually should keep your euthanasia rate hopefully lower than possible. I still would like to make it better, but as you can see, our live release rate based on January of 2023 was 95%, and ours was 88%. In February of 2023, it was 73%, but ours was 85%. And then it went down again in March. We had a rough March. It was 88% for 2023, and we had like 66% 75% was theirs, and we were back up to 88%, and we were higher again in May. They were 77% in 2023, and we were 82%. And when I averaged it all out, the average for 2023 was 82% live release rate. Right now, ours is at 81% live release rate. So we're lower in that length of stay, but we're managing to keep our live release rate right about where it was. Not that I still want to see it improve, but it's right where it was. And then some future things that, of course, we're going to talk about in the here coming up is we want to talk about approval and change, rewrite the mission statement, the values. It's always good to have a good foundation so we know where we're going. We want to talk about possible ordinance changes, and then of course I can't spell, I just looked at, anything the council would like to see in the future. I would love to, provide that information for y'all. Oh, the Clear the Shelter. Clear the Shelter is usually once a year, and that's done through Channel 5 NBC. That's about once a year that happens. It would be nice. The problem with Clear the Shelter is, well, they do a lot of the advertising, so that kind of makes it easier. But the last few years, what they've done is they tried to do the Clear the Shelter over a month to make it last as long as possible. When they did it for just one day, everybody was excited and lines were coming out the door. But when they changed it to a month, it really slowed the whole process down. So I don't know if it would make a huge difference. But what is nice about Clear the Shelter is they usually do it in July and August, and those are usually it's harder to make adoptions during that time. But do we need to do more mobile adoption events? Yes, we have been talking about that too, I think.
Well, I just want to make a comment. You're taking pictures of the dogs and the cats. Why not put videos so people can see their demeanor online instead of just a picture? Yeah.
Yeah, and I really thought that was a really great way to, promote the dogs and have people look at them. So I really enjoyed seeing and knowing their names and what they did and stuff. So that was really good. I wanted to say
But
you did a great job.
see how the dogs are responding
Yes.
to
Yes.
people too.
Yes.
So
And you can tell their demeanor and everything. So yes, I was really happy to see that. That was nice.
that's all I had.
Yeah.
I just want to say that for many years, animal control, and I know you two will at least back me up on this, animal control has always kind of been on the back burner. And this last year, putting it out in the forefront and addressing the issues, partnering with Forest Hill, those were great, but the cherry on top was really bringing in Ray with his expertise. He has been absolutely phenomenal for this operation, his experience, his training, everything he's done and worked towards down there. We would not be where we are today if it wasn't for Ray. And I just want to commend you for all your work on that. That's why I asked him to come make this presentation, because I know that the animal shelter operations and the animal control operation is new. He just presented this to the Animal Control Advisory Board, which I know does a lot of the work for you, but I felt it was important because I know this is getting discussed more and more in the community. I felt it was important for you as council members to hear this, what the changes are and what's happening actually at our shelter, and the amount of incredible work that Ray has put in down there with him and his staff and his team. So I just really want to commend you on doing an absolutely awesome job.
Thank you. Yeah, and our staff really, the staff down there really wants to make a difference, and they're doing the really hard work keeping everything clean. And basically, we had the state inspection come out, and we aced it. So we were really excited about that too.
So I wanted to highlight, as we're getting ready to come into budget, we've got several different transportation projects coming up. So I wanted to spend some time focusing solely on this with council and have some discussions about these projects and updates. First, I do want to talk about the South Race Street project. If you recall, last year the City Council approved an interlocal agreement with Tarrant County Precinct 1 to reconstruct Race Street from Enon Avenue to Shelby Road. That project is anticipated to start here within the next 30 days. So we are working pretty quickly on moving this project forward. It will be a complete reconstruction from Enon Avenue down to Christie Avenue, and then south of Christie it'll be an overlay. So, I'm sorry, Neal, you are correct. A reconstruction to Neal, and then south of Neal is an overlay. So we will have that road completely reconstructed and done prior to school starting in August was the goal. We do not want to be doing road construction when Bishop Elementary opens back up, because that roadway is just not wide enough to accommodate the traffic flow that'll come in and out of that school when school starts. Total cost of this project is $252,014, of which Commissioner Roy C. Brooks has committed $125,000 of his discretionary fund, so our only responsibility is the difference, which comes to about $140,000. Any questions on that one? Okay. This is a new project that I just wanted to bring to your attention. Race Street and Everman Parkway, we've been discussing the new McDonald's development that is anticipated to go in there. Permits have been submitted by McDonald's for construction. They're currently under review. And this is a part of a project that McDonald's is doing called Project Pronto. And what they're looking to do is truly expedite the construction process and development of this McDonald's as quickly as possible. They want to try to get this done within 6 months. So that's a pretty rapid construction project. Just north of where the McDonald's plot's going to be, McDonald's is planning to do some creek improvements and drainage improvements there to help with some of our flooding issues. So we're working with them. Our engineer's office is working with them on those developments as well. One of the concerns that comes with this is the intersection itself is already undersized and has a traffic congestion issue. We brought this to Commissioner Brooks's office. Commissioner Brooks recommended that we get with Michael Morris and the RTC about the potential of using traffic mitigation funds to address this issue. Mayor and I just had that meeting this last week. Actually, we've had a couple of meetings with them, the most recent one being this last week. And it sounds like what RTC's recommendation is to put in a signal light there at that intersection to try to mitigate some of the traffic congestion. Temporary signalization, it's what they call a span wire traffic signal, which if you haven't seen a span wire traffic signal, you probably have seen it, but this is what a span wire traffic signal is. It's a temporary traffic light, essentially. To do that is going to cost approximately $300,000. We have asked McDonald's. We don't have the ability to enforce anything on McDonald's. They're building by right. They're already zoned appropriately. We don't have any traffic impact fees of any kind that we can assess to help offset this. So we are working with them to see if they would be kind enough to assist us in this project and see if there's some way we can negotiate their financial support on this. I don't know that that's going to come to fruition, at which time we'll continue to work with Michael Morris. There may be some traffic mitigation funds available through the COG that we can try to pursue to fund this project. We're just trying all other avenues. Considering the COG is funding like $30 million plus worth of road improvements in Everman, we're just trying not to tap that any more than we already have. So we will continue to work with McDonald's. If for whatever reason those two funding sources fail, it will be likely that we'll come back to council to look at some sort of funding mechanism to improve that, because the signalization really does have to occur at that intersection. It's already undersized. We're already dealing with traffic congestion. I believe, if I haven't already, we did do a traffic study or traffic sampling at that intersection, and that report was just outrageous at the delays and the amount of time it takes somebody to travel from Rendon Road through that stop sign. Somewhere between 30 to 45 minutes to get through a stop sign at peak hours. That's really bad. That's not good at all. So we really want to improve that. So we are working on this. As a part of this project, the City of Fort Worth, we are working with the City of Fort Worth. They are looking to widen Shelby Road to 4 or 5 lanes from Rendon Road all the way through. What we've asked them to do is if they would consider, because if you recall, the City of Fort Worth has Shelby Road right up until Race Street. And then from Ray Street on Everman Parkway, from Ray Street until it widens and goes out into the double line, that's actually the city of Everman. What we've asked Fort Worth is, hey, as you're pursuing this bond, would the city of Fort Worth consider constructing and engineering and doing all of the work all the way through Everman for us and include us on that bond, and we'll come up with some sort of agreement to repay our portion back to you as a part of that bond. City of Fort Worth so far has been agreeable to that. And so we may look at getting some road improvement projects. This way we don't have to go out for a bond. We don't have to go out and look for major capital improvement funds of any kind to identify a way to improve our portion of Everman Parkway and Shelby. So we're working on that right now. The problem is that's probably about 2 to 3 years out. So it's part of their 2025 bond package. So we're still a ways away. Yep. Well, you know, bond, engineering, design, concept, all that stuff. Any questions on that intersection before I move forward? Sorry.
Yeah, what'd you call the wires that go across?
It's span wire traffic signal. Okay, just an update on Forest Hill Drive. If you recall, RTC, the same source that I was just talking about helping us to fund that intersection. RTC is funding through federal dollars a Forest Hill Drive expansion project from Lon Stevenson all the way to Shelby Road. This is going to be a $30 million plus investment. They've already secured more than $10 million towards the project for engineering, design, and construction. This is currently in the design and engineering phase. They're still collecting public feedback currently. We're still probably about 1.5 years, 2 years out from actually starting construction on this project just because of how massive the project is and the fact that Michael Morris is absolutely adamant about making sure that we're addressing the flooding issues as well when we're doing this project, not just a street issue. So he's trying to address both those concurrently for us. But that project is currently in design and engineering phase now that the flood study is done and back to them. Any questions there? Okay. And then Wichita Street. So Wichita Street, this is part of the Tarrant County Bond Program. Wichita Street will be widened and expanded from Interstate 20 all the way down to just south of Roy C. Brooks. We have about 100 feet of this project in our city. The rest of it is within the city of Fort Worth and the city of Forest Hill. City of Forest Hill is the lead agent on the project, so they are overseeing and coordinating all of the cities together. That's been a little bit, it's been kind of a challenge bringing 4 different entities kind of together and getting everybody on the same page. Forest Hill's run into some struggles trying to get everybody there. It sounds like we're pretty close to being there now. We're at 90% design completion. Still, Forest Hill's trying to work to iron out a few of the last minute wrinkles. Hopefully we can move forward. Initially, Commissioner Brooks wanted this project completed by the end of 2024 before his term of office was done. Obviously that's not going to happen. So we're a little behind the ball, but county administration has assured Commissioner Brooks that we will keep him involved even following his retirement on all the activities associated with this project, since he promised this to all the communities down here. Any questions on that? Okay, and then this one will probably requires quite a bit of discussion. So Zip Zone, Trinity Metro. So Zip Zone, if you recall, we were awarded grant funds back in 2019 to provide for some form of public transportation. Working with the county and Trinity Metro, we researched several different avenues, and that's when Zip Zone was introduced to the city as a potential option for us. The grant funds have carried this project through. It was re-upped in 2021, and we are now approaching the end of that grant fund, and it sounds like it's not going to be renewed as grant funds. I received a message today from Trinity Metro asking for some clarification on council's intent. Obviously, we're not going to be able to make any kind of motion or take any action on that tonight, but I would like to get a general consensus or an idea of where the council sits on this so I can communicate back with them, especially as we're coming into budget. Couple of problems that administration has had with Zip Zone is reporting. It has been, quite frankly, like pulling teeth to try to get some accurate reporting on the usage of Zip Zone, specifically within the city of Everman. I've requested several reports, and just about every report I get back is inclusive of addresses in the city of Fort Worth. I'm trying as hard as I can to get you specific data related solely to Everman, and I'll show you a quick example of that. Give me just a second. So, let me see if I can pull this over. There we go. And I'm going to try to navigate this. So this is the zip zone map that they were, and I'm using the wrong tool. I apologize. Technology is not going to be my friend today. Okay. Nope, it's just not going to select and move. What if I... Okay, now that I've got that finally on the map for you. If you look, this is what Trinity Metro sent on this part of the last report, which I put some reports in front of you as well. These are also the numbers that they shared. These numbers match up with these pinpoints. The problem I've got is as you look at this map, the pinpoints that they're highlighting on this map that are specific to Everman, there are so many pinpoints that are outside of our city. Some of these are inclusive of Stallion Point Apartment Complex, south of Everman High School, the Everman Market up here in Fort Worth. They're not necessarily our residents or our folks using this. There's several addresses along Everman Parkway. We know that several residents that live on the south side of Everman Parkway on the Bellshire neighborhood, they're using Zip Zone and they're meeting them at the supermarket or something like that because you have to be picked up at a certain location. So we have several that are walking there. Again, I'm not saying that nobody in Everman's using this. I'm just saying I don't know the numbers and I can't share the numbers with you because I'm not really getting accurate information from Zip Zone on the precise usage of Everman residents. And I know that that has been a request of the council for quite some time. This is the data that I'm getting back, and that's the only data I have to share with you. So I will put in that request one more time. The anticipated cost, I have no idea why that's popping up the screen like that. The anticipated cost is going to be somewhere between $75,000 to $150,000 for fiscal year 25 if the city wishes to move forward with keeping Zip Zone services as they are today. We can, if council's desire is, we can go back to negotiate with Zip Zone about districts and service levels and try to bring that cost down if the council is adamant about wanting to provide some sort of solution to citizens. The other option is we can keep Zip Zone services and put all costs back onto the citizens. Zip Zone is available to the citizens at a very highly discounted rate because the city is using funds to subsidize those programs. So there's several different options here. You know, in 2024, Uber, Lyft, all those are highly available. If we were to say, hey, we're going to keep Zip Zone and just pass the cost off onto the citizens, I would say that service is already available through private companies such as Uber or Lyft or one of those others. I just don't think it'd be worth the time and the effort to look into an agreement. Just kind of want to get some direction and ideas from the council.
We see how it would go for a year without Zip Zone and then go back to Zip Zone if needed at a later future or in a later time?
That's probably more of a question for Zip Zone. If I was sitting on the other side of the table, my concern would be is that if you recall, this was put together as a partnership project. So it's not just Everman. We're one participant of several, which includes Crowley, Tarrant County, and Fort Worth. If we were to withdraw with this program, obviously any cost we're forking over will probably have to be absorbed by those other entities. I don't know if Zip Zone would entertain coming back in or not. I just don't know the answer. But it's certainly something we can ask and see.
Okay, I think this is a great plan and people are using it. I can't see all of the taxpayers. I knew this was going to happen when we first did this. I knew the money was going to run out, and it was going to, the city, the citizens, the tax-paying citizens were going to be paying for everybody all of these people that make their trips. I am not comfortable with $75,000 to $100,000 to be a part of a zip zone thingy, any kind of a thingy that is servicing as few people as this is. So the average taxpayer in Everman is paying the bill for everybody to take these trips. I have no problem helping people. That's not where I'm coming. So I don't want people to say, well, you hate people, because that's not it. I'm looking at all of our taxpayers footing this bill, and I cannot in good conscience approve that big a bill for zip zone to come in. And the numbers look good. We got 20 people, 44, 46. They're probably, for the most part, the same people doing their same shopping or doctors, whatever. But like you said, there are other options that folks can use, Uber, etc. I don't even know what they are. And they're just going to have to get, in my book, because I'm the taxi cab right now for the elderly in my family, and I am an elderly, but I am running the taxi cab for the folks that need to go to the grocery store and doctors, etc. And that's just it. I cannot see using that kind of money.
So just real quickly, I just did some quick math to give you an idea. Month of April 2022 shows to have the highest number of passengers from Everman. If you were to take the $75,000, assuming the lower cost, and on the busiest month, it comes out to about $120 per ride. So yes, these numbers may look good on paper, but when you do the math, that's a very expensive operation.
Well, I only meant the numbers look good because people are using it.
Sure.
But it is super expensive, and thank you for doing the math. It's just an incredible amount of, Uber would be $15 or whatever. I mean, I don't know, I don't use Uber, but it can't be $120 to let somebody go to the doctor and get brought home.
Well, and if you recall too, so the way the Zip Zone service works is it's to or from any location within the designated map, within participating agencies. So they can't go downtown. We're not providing service. Where this is beneficial, the pros to this are people looking to get to a grocery store or the Walmart in Crowley, maybe getting to or from Hughley Hospital, medical offices. It does provide a service option for them, but I feel and again, this is my opinion, I probably shouldn't be weighing my opinion, but my opinion is that the number and usage is too low for the city to justify the amount of expenditure that we would have to justify.
On our library, we had a minimal number of books checked out, and we were spending $125,000 a year to maintain the library and that service, which was not being used. And we weren't getting our taxpayers bang for the buck in that service. This is the same thing.
When County gave us the $200,000, we never sent out or gave the community any information on what was available. So you're right, we don't know who in Everman used it, because like I said, no one even knew that the money was available, or that whether it could take them to their destination or bring them back or not. So now it probably would not be beneficial for us to spend the money.
Well, we took several steps, including newsletters. We did place this into the water bill. We did place placards. We actually have placards and stickers on City Hall doors and all city facility doors, and we do have it on our website. I think we did a pretty decent job of marketing this for availability. I think one of the problems is that public transportation is good for development when you have opportunities, when people have a need to come to Everman. We are turning the tide. We have not had development. We don't have many people that want to come to or have a need to come to Everman other than for a job. We don't have an entertainment district. We don't have many shopping opportunities. We're nearly a food desert with only one grocery store. So there's not a need. We have no medical facilities at all. There's just not much of a need for people to want to come to Everman, and therefore public transportation getting to or from is just not real high. The people that live down here are already off the beaten path. This goes back to my argument and my issue with Stallion Point apartment complex and how that was built, and the fact that it was low-income housing. That low-income housing was situated outside of a city that doesn't have the means or the ability to provide the support that low-income housing needs to thrive. There's no public transportation, there's minimal job opportunities, there's almost in a food desert, and now these people are deserted down here, and I feel, quite frankly, that this was an effort by others to put opportunities down here that the city of Everman would be expected to fork the bill over for. But that's just me.
Well, I can't support anything where we can't get good numbers either. You know, because I've seen these reports before, and there's numerous addresses out of the city of Fort Worth. So, you know, we don't want to foot the bill for that.
No, we're not going to.
So,
So what do you think?
I'm sorry? I've asked for a contract number that was based off the numbers, that was a guesstimate based off the numbers that he provided today. So, yeah. And it very well may be, I'll have to wait to get those numbers back, but that's an estimate based off the fact that if there's $61,000 left in the grant fund, and that's going to carry us to September, using that math based off a monthly rate to anticipate what fiscal year 25 would be.
well, Craig, I'm thinking, and this is me, if we can't get good numbers from them, council's not even going to consider this.
Okay.
We need to know factual numbers of our residents are using it, and then we can come up with a number.
So,
Let's afford anyway. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Well, I mean, if we could reduce it considerably, then
I will certainly ask the question that Councilwoman Davila posed to Zip Zone about the option of opting out a year. If we were to opt out a year, would we be able to opt back in? Can we assess for a year and see where we're at? I will ask for final numbers, and I will see if I can also get a final report, including solely just Everman residents, if they're able to or Everman locations, to or from an Everman location, not a Fort Worth location, and see if I can bring that back to you. But I will also share with them the concerns that I think most on this sitting here share, so that they know the likelihood is probably not very good of us looking to renew. Is that okay? Anything else I need to consider?
No, I just think if Everman residents were using it and we opt out for a year, we would hear. They would respond saying, why isn't?
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen Zip Zone recently, but usually during the school hours. So like in the afternoon when they're out of school, I see Zip Zone there by the park. So I don't know if they're using it as that means of transportation to the school or what, but I've seen it more often up on Everman Parkway, and usually right there waiting for kids after school or something. So I'm really
Family Dollar, they're parked there a lot.
Oh yeah. So I see it more on that area than on this area, this end. So maybe other people coming from other communities, you know, like Crowley or something coming in, but not really from Everman going out.
This time I have never seen one in our area for where I live and Linda I know. So I just can't see spending the money.
Seen them down Forest Hill Drive, but they're going to Forest Hill.
Well, and I think the timing is just not very good also for the city of Everman. I mean, we are trying to right a ship that has had some financial issues for quite some time. We've been working very hard to right this ship. We have been turning things around. We've got new development on the horizon. We've got a lot of improvements coming. I'm not saying that public transportation isn't necessarily a need. I just think we have to prioritize, and I just don't think it's a need that we can justify expenditures for right now. But
Will we be renewing the Kroger, project?
yes, the Kroger project is a multi-year interlocal agreement, and so.
Did you ever get that out to the community, that they even knew about it? Ones I've talked about, never even, they heard about Forest Hill being in it.
Getting off track. Hey, Johnny, we're getting off track. This is not an agenda item,
What's the transportation part?
but Kroger's is a different project altogether, so we are getting off track. So, any other questions or comments about transportation? Okay, next item, City of Everman and Everman ISD interlocal agreement for law enforcement services.
we are getting ready to renew the agreement. If you recall, the school district's fiscal year is different than ours. Theirs begins in August. So in talking with the superintendent, they're not proposing any changes. We are proposing a change. I am asking for a 5% increase on the interlocal agreement amount. The number of officers have stayed the same. To this point, the superintendent is agreeable to that. She has asked because obviously the school district, as everybody I think is aware, school district, not just Everman, but all school districts are facing some financial difficulties with the changes in the law and the decrease in enrollment. So she has asked about opportunities for us to maybe find alternative funding that could support programs. So we are working with the district now on potential grant opportunities to maybe offset some of those costs for the following year. The cost of police officers. So, the grant last year was in the ballpark of $770,000 for school resource services. This year, it's $809,000 is what I've asked her for with that 5% increase. So it's an expensive operation to supply school resource officers. That's a big hit. But she wants police officers are a priority to her. School safety is a priority to her. It has been since she's taken that position. She wants to maintain high level of safety on the campuses, so she is adamant about maintaining the agreement. Very satisfied with the services, but I just wanted to put it on your radar and find out if there is anything that council would like me to consider as we're negotiating this ILA before I bring it back to you for approval.
Do we have enough police officers patrolling the city with giving those to the Everman?
So to make sure that we keep things on track, what we do with the school resource officers is when school is not in session, those school resource officers are reallocated to patrol or another supportive division. They don't take the summer months off like staff and teachers do at the school district. They're reassigned to another division to support us. The school resource division does not pull from patrol or any other division. They're completely in addition to. So we're not, if we were to not have these school resource officers, it wouldn't affect our staffing numbers for patrol or any other division within the police department. These are completely in addition to, almost entirely paid for by the district, with the exception, I think, of close to $200,000 that the city contributes because we use these officers during the summer to support CID, other functions. That's just the way it's always been. It's about a 75-25% share.
Did they say they wanted 12 officers at one time at the school?
We did discuss that last year as the new House bill came through that required armed security on all campuses. The school district was looking at the potential. They asked if we could supply 12. I told them yes. But funding just wasn't available to do that solely with law enforcement. So they were able to negotiate with a security firm that could provide armed security on some of the campuses and asked for us to provide 8 on several of the other campuses. So we have 8 school resource officers in that division.
Okay.
3 of which are assigned to the high school, 1 assigned to Baxter Junior High, another one assigned to STEM Academy, and then the others assigned at elementary schools.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, next item is consideration possible action. Item A, resolution number 2024-06-02, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Everman, Texas, renaming the city facility located at 100 North Ray Street as the Daggs Building. So I will entertain a motion.
I move we approve the resolution 2024-06-02 as read.
Good.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Poll the council.
Place 1. Place 2.
Aye.
Place 3. Place 4.
Aye.
Place 5.
Aye.
Place 6.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay.
It's in the resolution. It's included in there directing me to replace the signage. We'll take care of it. They're already working on it, so it should be pretty quick. I will keep you informed. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, no executive session. City manager's report.
The only thing I've got is that we did change our operating hours effective on Monday. Staff has so far not had any issues other than getting up a little bit earlier, having some more coffee consumption in the morning. But other than that, seems to be going well. We have taken all of the advertising steps that we discussed in considering that, including the signage, making sure that we did CTYs, it was included in the water bill, all of the steps that we could possibly take to make sure. We are working on adding, or we're going to work on adding vinyl decals onto the doors indicating the new hours. We will on Monday publish a employee survey, just asking how the first week was to gather that information. We will do another one in about a month, and then we will do one at the end so we can show a trend and just kind of gather feedback from the citizens. And we will also keep a log of any get feedback from the employees, and then we will also keep a log of any citizen complaints that we receive so that we can share all of that information with you when we come back to the table to decide whether to make this a permanent change or not. So, yes, I will. Other than that, Mayor, I don't have anything else.
Thanks for all the updates on the streets.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next mayor's report. The only thing I have is, I'm gonna go ahead and spill the beans. Craig's getting an award on Friday from COG, the William J. Pitstick Award. And if you look at the list of individuals that have won that award in the past, it's been Betsy Price and people like that. So kind of a big deal for our city. So Craig and I will be there. And Craig did try to nominate the city, but this is for an individual, so it was worded to where Craig would receive it on behalf of the city. So he wants everybody to know it's a city deal. So
Yes.
you know how Craig is. So, but we're excited about it, and Roderick and Commissioner Brooks, I believe, are going to try to be there. So
Okay, great.
that being said, the time is 7:22, and we are adjourned.